Alright, we're in episode 9 of Sonic Heroes coming down into Mystic Mansion. After messing around outside Eggman's big castle, we're gonna go mess around inside. And here's an enemy familiar from the Lost Jungle. We didn't really talk about these guys back then, but they're big. You don't want to be hit by their hammers. And they have another variant that we're going to see in this level. Omega just sort of going after them and slicing them down is the best way to kill those guys for right now. But when we get into the armored versions of those characters, it'll take a little bit more work than that. So now we're going to have to jump up and flip this switch. And we're going to have more ghosts, unfortunately, to deal with in this level as well. And another thing that's returning from Hang Castle are the little teleporting balls. They're going to cause changes. In this case, unlike physically moving us around like they did in the last level, they're going to make little changes to this level. And so an empty room all of a sudden became a filled room with lots of soldiers. Okay. These little guys over on the two platforms here are just there to cause you to think a little bit before you land. And we once again get the flying level up first. Now, this level and the boss fight that follows it challenges you to be very careful with how you use your team blasts. And sometimes it won't be obvious until you've screwed it up a couple times. So I have the benefit of trial and error here. If you're wondering why I didn't use my team blast to wipe out that room of enemies. And that's because I know that there's going to be a big sucker coming out of the picture right there. And this is just a quicker way to deal with him than having Omega bang around and just hope that his hammer doesn't hit us anywhere. Okay, now there's a little hole that we have to go through leading to a hallway. You can control your speed, but that is a bottomless pit if you miss it. And there is there's an egg wizard up here, and you saw that she successfully drew away about 20 of our rings. We had to switch away from Omega to Shadow in order to deal with it. And now we're set up to yet another gimmick. If you remember the bobsleds from Seaside Hill and I guess Bullet Station, this is the next version of that. Here the sleds are on rails, but the rules are the same. You still need to avoid the red laser lines, and you still, like those, you still need, and so you can keep your crew together so you can continue to go on. The difference between the Team Dark and Team Sonic levels in this case, I believe the Team Dark has an extra use of those carts. So now we're in this room. To get the skeleton to change positions, we need to hit one of these balls. And we hit the one on the left, which is the correct choice. I'm just going to ignore the guys who spawn here and here. Go up to the top and eliminate the egg wizard instead. And then I'm going to hit the ball here on the left, which will produce some spider web or whatever you want to call it that will lead us out. Now, you can grind on the spider web. In fact, that's what you're supposed to do. But be warned, the spider web will change your direction every time there's an option to change your direction. and it may not end up going to a place where you would necessarily want to go. Right, so we wipe out those guys, then Omega's going to bash through the wall here, and bash through the wall again. And then bash that Egg Wizard. You can see a door, but there's no way through, because we need to bash through the wall here to get to a switch. And I find it really weird at this point, you know, I've got Shadow and Rouge at their max levels. The character that, you know, is probably most important to me, as you've probably noticed throughout this playthrough, Omega, you know, is still at level 1.
This switch is mysterious.
Okay, so now these statues are going to turn into guys, and we're going to go ahead and use the Team Blast here to wipe them out. And while time is stopped, we can kill this Egg Wizard before they can really do anything. And now we meet the new enemy. This is the helmeted version of this foe. And you can see here I use Shadow to knock his helmet off. But now we still have a problem. His only weak area, I mean, I can use Omega and charge at him forever if I want. It's not doing any damage. But when he's in position like this, you need to hit him with either the jump charge shot from your power character or the thunder shot from your flight character in order to knock him over. And that will give you access to his head, which is his only weak point. Okay, so let's see if I get it right this time. There we go. Now I just need to hit him in the head. Unfortunately, his entire body is a hit zone. So we didn't actually get him to go that time, so it's going to take us a little longer to get him back down, because we need to attract him to swing his hammer, but we need to make sure we're not hit by it. And we need him to swing it, not hit like that. So here we go. There's the hammer. There's the opportunity for him to fall over, and then, of course, Omega misses twice. Then we get him down, bash him once on the head. We're done. We can head out of this part, and then we run into these things. These little skeleton hands are actually torches, and they need Omega to fire near them in order to light. What's amusing about this is that Team Dark will be turning on all these torches throughout the location. Then, in the Team Chaotix playthrough of the level, Team Chaotix is responsible for turning off the torches. So, I think you get the idea, at least in the game's mind, although that these things are supposed to happen kind of simultaneously. I think you get the idea that the Team Chaotix playthrough happens slightly after the Team Dark playthrough.
Just watch this. You all ready?
Just because of that relationship right there. And, okay, so we jumped over the red lasers there. We jumped over them here.
We're gonna hit it.
Braking, so we didn't have to worry about getting hit by those projectiles from that other cart. And we're not breaking any sort of land speed records here. But that's okay. The point is to stay alive. And now we're going to be grinding. Now the trick with this grind is there is a ghost that's going to appear to hit us. And you need to either get over just before or just after that ghost. Otherwise, your grind rail ends. And now we're going on the next and last trolley cart adventure. So we lost Shadow, we lost Omega, we can't lose anybody else. Fortunately, Rouge makes it to the finish line for us, and we get to the checkpoint. Now we have to light more torches.
What a bunch of annoying
Right, we got 3 egg wizards waiting for us here. And Omega is now at level 2, so that's...
We may be able to use triangle.
And in this section can cause problems if you're don't know what you're doing. So you triangle jump with your speed character. Then you can fall down onto the spider webbing, and then it's just using your flight character to get to the correct bar at the end. And then now we're going to go light speed dash with Shadow almost all the way up, not quite, but we're getting toward a kind of a sticky point of this episode. So we'll wipe out everybody here. Now the trick is that you have to destroy this panel. And the way you destroy it is with Omega. And they don't exactly tell you how to do this, you just have to hack away at it. And you'll see it. And then you end up in this sort of other world. Now the problem with this place is you've got 3 switches to activate. And you've got to get... See, so you've got to be in flying formation. You can't do it another way. So Omega, Shadow, and then you would think we would have it, but actually, if Omega gets moved, or if Shadow gets moved, they will come off their switch and they'll come back to you. Which was the problem here. So I realized that okay, so Shadow is back, so start over, try this again. But we went from having, 100-something rings to only having 8 because of this. Okay, so Omega came back, so something didn't quite work there. And there we go, there's the way out. Shadow can light speed dash up to here. Now this is the trial place. This place is only accessed in Team Sonic and Team Dark's playthrough. Team Sonic, you've got 3 tests that all have to do with the various skills of the characters. Team Dark, you really just get enemies spawned. And in theory, Shadow would be the best to deal with these enemies, but you saw that I'm using Rouge and her Thundershoot, and the enemies aren't even on the screen, and we've already accomplished the objective. So, so much for it being a speed test. For the Team Sonic playthrough, the speed test is a series of homing attacks made by Sonic to get back to the main platform. Alright, so now we're going to go to the flight test, which again is, we're going to be in flight formation, yes,
Up to you, Rouge.
because the enemies are airborne, but they're also armored, which is, not necessarily the best matchup for Rouge, maybe a slightly better matchup for Omega. Alright, and then we have the final test. And you'll notice I've been saving my Team Blast. The final test is the power test. And as you can imagine, since Omega is the strongest character, they're going to give us the strongest test, which is, some more of these robots, including a big gray robot that you couldn't see, because of the formation we were in, and because we went ahead and did the Chaos Inferno. So that gets us out of here, and now we can access the shiny ball in the middle.
Enemies eliminated.
And here you go. We're at the top of the castle. It's daytime, considering it was nighttime when we were entering around the castle. And we reached the goal ring. Now we got a C rank on Hang Castle. And despite the fact that this is our best time and our best ring count, and we get another C rank here. Oh well. Point was, we got through. And now we face the boss. This is another rush of flunkies, but this is a much harder thing to deal with than the group in Robot Carnival. In Robot Carnival, you could sort of get away with just sort of attacking, you know, and then using your Team Blast whenever you got it. In Robot Storm, you need to be more careful about how you use your Team Blast. Okay, so you see this guy is a gray guy with no helmet, so it means we can still hurt him. So you don't want to use, you wouldn't want to use your Team Blast if you had it at that point on that guy. You'd want to save it. So now we have our Team Blast. You'll notice that I am not making any effort to use the Team Blast. Instead, I'm mowing down these gold bazooka guys by throwing Omega into them and using mainly his melee attacks, although his guns are helping. Now, I'm going through them at a fairly quick pace, despite the fact that there are 2 egg wizards on the board helping heal them. And if I want to get off of this little level here, I've got to kill both egg wizards, which is something that you may not realize that they're even there because they're behind you, and you would have to turn the camera all the way around to find them. But we saved the Team Blast, so when we got stuck and surrounded by these gold turtles, you know, we could get rid of them easily. And so now we're in another survival area where we're again going to be careful about our Team Blast meter and when we use it. So we have this wave of troops. There are 2 guys with shields, but there are 3 guys who sort of don't have shields. You can kill the guys without shields with Thundershoot. The guys with shields, you can either use Shadow to disarm them, or you can use Omega just to smash them open. They're followed by a wave of egg wizards and 1 gray guy in the middle. And although you're going to be tempted to use your Team Blast here, you are better off not doing it. Right? So now we've cleared out the second survival area, and we have a full Team Blast to use at our disposal whenever we need it. So we go to the third survival area. Now, there's a bunch of enemies dropped off here. Again, you're going to be tempted to use your Team Blast here. Do not do it. The only exception to this is if you're playing through this level with Team Chaotix, in which case you can use your Team Blast as much as you want because it creates rings and fills up again. So I know the big gray guy looks scary, and he can be real troublesome, but we still need to hold on to the Team Blast here. This is not the biggest problem with this area. Okay, there's evidently an egg wizard that we haven't killed. Not sure where it is. So usually they're in the corners or directly on the sides, so you know, just sort of shooting Rouge into a couple of different areas looking for it. I can see little fake Eggman's spacecraft there, but that's not the problem. So I'm going to resort to doing something I don't like to do, which is moving the camera around, because you have to move it back. Okay, so we destroyed the last thing. So now here's another egg wizard, a third egg wizard, and I've had it with the egg the egg wizards. I don't need any sort of bloodsuckers operating on the corner of the stage. The little ball is there, so now we can move on to the next point. Now this point is, brings us back to the flying things, but they all are going to shoot their guns and sweep around with them. And so if you stay in one place, you're most likely going to get hit, as I did a couple times. But because Rouge is on level 3 and can use her Thunder Shoot, I didn't really see much interest in, trying to have Shadow homing attack his way up and down like we did the first time we were in here. Then you get the trains. The trains will shoot spike balls at you if you're not careful. And you do have to destroy all the trains. There is one. You do have to destroy all the trains in order to progress further. Okay, there's another spike ball. And fortunately, all of our characters are leveled up. We don't need to go after that last circle. There are lots of ways to die here. You can get caught on the edge with Omega. This happened to me a couple of times. And I mean that throughout the entire level. I don't mean just this one particular section. But now you can see Omega just wiping people out with his level 3. And that cannon will take us to the final defense point in this rush. So now you can see lots of armored characters, lots of egg wizards. There's an armored big silver guy that showed up. So yeah, we went ahead and used the Team Blast on them. But there's still one more challenge left before we can get out of here alive. And that is these 3 guys coming in right here. You get 2 normal gray guys who you can beat up, with Omega. But you also have the one helmeted guy. And you can see it once again, we miss the opportunity to knock him on his butt and knock his helmet off. There was a time when I played through this level where I knocked down this guy, got his helmet off, and then ran into the hammer on my way to hit him, which killed me because I had no rings at that point. Alright, so now we can knock him down. We got to be careful about his hitbox because, again, he can still hurt you while he's laying there. We blow him up on the side, and then we get told that those are the easy ones. Since there are only 2 levels left, I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to mean. But that brings us to the end of it, and now if we want to pursue the faux Dr. Eggman, we're going to have to go into the sky. And I'll see you then.